Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Entertainment Now podcast. My name is Nick.
I'm not Nick.
You are not Nick. You
I'm
are
not Nick.
the Ian.
The Ian?
Yeah, why not? It's like
I'm not just a Ian. I am the Ian.
the Ian, like the Ohio State University.
Is that what it is?
That's what people from Ohio State always say.
Yeah.
It's not Ohio State University. It's the Ohio State University.
Not to be confused with all the other Ohio State universities.
I'm just fucking saying I'm just fucking making fun of you, and that's all it is.
I'm making fun of
What are you doing with your camera? What are you doing?
I was just adjusting it.
Oh my God. Stop adjusting yourself on camera. I will say that if you're watching this on YouTube,
you're seeing me adjust myself on camera.
Yeah, all of our videos are always up on YouTube. Give us the old thumbs up and drop us a comment, all that YouTube-y kind of stuff. Leave us a 5-star review on your favorite podcatcher, whether it's Spotify, Apple, whoever. Joe Mama. What's going on, Ian?
Well, I'm trying to hear the sound of freedom.
Are you?
I'm trying. Apparently, it's got a sound.
What exactly is the sound of freedom?
I don't know. Well, I suspect it's gunshots and racial epithets.
I was gonna think like a screaming goat. That's the sound of freedom, right? Isn't that the
same thing? Minus the gunshots, I guess.
So I guess we can kind of go into it.
Yeah.
So last week we talked about I guess just like random entertainment news stuff. We were gonna talk about Sound of Freedom. And then, like always, we just ramble on way too long about everything else and never really got to it. So we're going to talk about the movie Sound of Freedom today. It's got critics fucking hate the movie, I guess. I thought I saw that like the critics score on Rotten Tomatoes is like 35%. And then the audience score is like 96%. So of course, the conspiracy theory goes, well, that's because the elites in the country, in the U.S. don't want people, or corporations, or Disney in particular, don't want people to see this movie.
Well, so I don't know much about the movie other than the controversies that's kind of surrounding it.
Well, here, let me read over the little synopsis that's on.
Yeah, read the synopsis, because that's what I read, and I was like, well, I mean, that just sounds like any like Lady D's action film.
After rescuing a boy from ruthless child traffickers, a federal agent learns the boy's sister is still captive and decides to embark on a dangerous mission to save her. With time running out, he quits his job and journeys deep into the Colombian jungle, putting his life on the line to free her from a fate worse than death. Yeah, it sounds like fucking Rambo, right?
Right. Yeah, it could easily be a Rambo movie, or it's the sequel to Commando with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Now when he had to save his daughter.
So the movie is based on real life events. I'm using supposed in air quotes, real life events of Tim Ballard, who is the founder of the anti-trafficking organization Operation Underground Railroad.
Okay.
And their mission has been, so I'm trying to see when they started here. Let me see. They were founded in 2013. But basically what they do is they go around the world trying to save people from trafficking.
Sounds like a reasonable, good cause.
Okay, yeah. So this movie was made several years ago, and I think it was 20. Wait, who did Disney buy out?
Everybody.
No.
20th Century Fox.
Okay, so it was 20th Century Fox. So the movie was originally a 20th Century Fox property, right?
Okay.
Before the movie could be released, Disney bought 20th Century Fox, and as you alluded to, along with like everyone else basically that Disney bought. So the movie got shelved, as many projects do. A lot of movies get shelved. Right. But what the conspiracy theorists behind Sound of Freedom are saying is Disney intentionally withheld this movie so that people would not see it. And my response to that is, if Disney does not want you to see one of their properties, you will never fucking see it.
Right.
Because Disney has more money than God, basically. The only people that have more money than Disney is probably fucking Apple. Like, it's like, that's about it, right? So,
but Disney has more IP, so we're probably not. But
yeah, exactly. So if Disney didn't want you to see it, you would never saw it. Disney sold this movie. They sold the property just like they sell lots of properties that they have no intent of releasing. This was a 20th Century Fox property. They bought it. It was part of the acquisition. Fuck it, they'll sell it. So whatever. So I was trying to find the movie house that released this. Give me 1 second here. Let me pull it up here. You think I should have been like prepared, right?
Well, I had the screen up and I thought I saw it, but
I think I know what it is. I just don't want to say the wrong thing. So give me 1 second here.
Distributed by Angel Studios.
Yes, Angel Studios. So Angel Studios was started by, this is where I'm kind of digging down this rabbit hole here. It was started, if I can pull up because I just want to say the guy's name. So this was started by several, I thought it was just one guy, but it looks like a couple of guys out in Provo, Utah. They started Angel Studios because it was basically originally a streaming service where I think it was like Angel something. Well, it was the name of the streaming service. But what they were doing is they were taking movies and TV shows and stripping out all the content that they found offensive. Right? Until they got sued by all the networks for basically stealing their content.
Right.
So,
well, I mean, to me, that sounds like freedom to me, censorship.
Oh yeah, of course. So after that, they started Angel Studios and they crowdsourced a shitload of money to make what they believe and what they feel is family appropriate content. Okay, that's
like the Dove Network and all that.
Yes. So Angel Studios got the rights to Sound of Freedom and released it. And then like the meme all over fucking social media for the last couple of weeks is Sound of Freedom is the movie that Disney didn't want you to see, but it was in less theaters than Disney's landmark or big 4th of July movie release, Indiana Jones. And dollar-wise, Sound of Freedom did more than Indiana Jones. So Angel Studios, Sound of Freedom had the last laugh because they beat out Disney. And I'm like, it's the people behind it are creating this like false narrative, right?
Right.
Because Disney is the enemy. Disney is the child traffickers, basically. They're grooming the youth of America with their black mermaids and
their gay friendly content.
Gay friendly content, yes.
Yeah. I don't even know what to say to that, but you're right. So essentially, it's like what I said last week about let's not give these people a platform. They're creating their platform in the reverse by doing the exact same thing, but before it happens, they're just saying it's happening.
Yes. And I was trying to see when exactly this happened. So in September of 2020, Vice did a whole article about Operation Underground Railroad's ties to QAnon.
Okay.
So, what's a big thing with QAnon? Child trafficking. What is an issue worldwide, but not. I mean, child trafficking is an issue worldwide.
It is.
It's an issue. It's an issue here in the U.S. There are much, much, much bigger issues in the United States than child trafficking. A lot of child trafficking comes from 3 states: Texas, California, and New York.
Because those are the most populated city or most populated states.
And and because Texas and California are borders to Mexico, right? I think like 2/3 or something. It's a large percentage of all the child trafficking in California happens in San Diego County, which is on the border of Mexico.
Right.
So trafficking happens because in those areas because of how easy it is to move people out of the country, right?
Right.
That's not to say that there's not child trafficking anywhere else in the United States. It happens everywhere, but it's a majority of it. A lot of it happens in those 3 states, right?
Right.
So it is an issue. Child trafficking is a horrible thing. I'll also say that it's also. I think it's kind of a misnomer that people think, or people equate child trafficking with sex trafficking, which is definitely a percentage of trafficking that is sex trafficking, but a lot of child trafficking is also for wars. People use them as soldiers. People
forced labor.
Forced labor is another big one also. So there's other components to it. Trafficking is not such a black and white kind of issue that a lot of people really kind of think it is.
Right.
But so I guess the kind of a lot of the criticisms I have kind of go back to the story of this movie, because it's billed as a true story, when in all accounts from what I've seen outside of, what's that guy's name, Tim Ballard, is that what his name was?
I think that's what you said. Yeah.
Outside of Tim Ballard's account and Operation Underground Railroad's account, it's bullshit. This is mostly made up and falsely. It like, best case scenario, some of it might be true, but it's like overinflated, over the top, make believe.
Well, as long as it doesn't say an actual true story, it just is based on a true story.
It does say based on. It does say based on.
Then it doesn't matter. It could be based on literally like the main character that they're trying to base it on had a red car, and they gave the hero a red car, and that's all of the fact-based elements to the film. So
yes. And so over the last several years, there's been a lot of criticism of Operation Underground Railroad's tactics and what they do. There was a big story, big news article several years back that I pulled up, where they were illegally going into in other countries to quote unquote rescue traffickers, but they were actually like normal sex workers. They weren't trafficked. They were voluntarily sex workers. And they went in, like, basically kidnapped these people, like, to rescue them. They were also, in one of their operations that they did, they went in to rescue a bunch of children who had been trafficked. But like in the 2020s, everyone has to have a camera with them because they were going to do a reality TV show. So they brought their cameras with them, and a lot of the one news article I was talking about basically said that they needlessly traumatized all these kids because of the tactics that they did, and they had these cameras with them, and it was just really kind of confusing for these kids what was even really going on. They were supposed to send these kids to be like rehabilitated over like several months, and I guess like 2 weeks after they picked them up, they just discarded them. They just released them.
Right, because they did it for the
publicity and for the cameras. Yeah. Yes, So it sounds like they're doing things they're doing things for the wrong reasons, and a lot of their tactics seem to be unethical and highly illegal.
Right.
At least in the countries that they're going into.
Which is sad, because if there was an organization that was willing to do this and do it the right way, it would be a good thing. but if they're not doing it the right way, or really at all, if they're just doing it for the publicity, and then, well, I mean, it's like any other save the children movement. The children are only valuable to them really as a talking point. After that, who gives a shit?
They're discarded.
They're discarded.
So Ann Gallagher, who is she's the director of the Commonwealth Foundation, which is a big like anti-trafficking organization. I'm trying to see when she said this. I don't know. Oh, this is in 2015. She was it was the OUR was brought up to her, and she said this is a direct quote from her. It says that Operation Underground Railroad had an alarming lack of understanding about how sophisticated criminal traffic networks must be approached and dismantled. And she also said that they were arrogant, unethical, and illegal, like I just said.
Right.
Because that's the big thing, is like to have like a meaningful impact on trafficking. And we've talked about trafficking, not on this show, but we've talked about it on Life in General.
Right.
If you want to have a meaningful impact on trafficking, it's not just about saving the people that were trafficked. Obviously, that's a part of it. But you want to make sure that the trafficking networks aren't able to continue on, right?
Right.
Like you want to cease their operations.
Right.
Or
make it so cost prohibitive, because I mean, unfortunately, that's the only thing that really works in this world is money.
Yeah.
Make it so that it's no longer viable. It's no longer a viable source of income.
Yeah.
For these people. So,
yeah. So they, that's like a piece that Operation Underground Railroad is, really kind of overlooking. And like I said, saving children is not, like, don't get me wrong, like saving children is a good thing.
Right.
But
doing it in like a cowboy mentality, though, just because it sounds like that's what it is.
It's dangerous and it's reckless.
Yeah.
So part of this movie, from the clips I've seen of it, there's like Tim Ballard and this other guy are like going to go into the jungle and save this girl. But Tim Ballard, both of them can't go in. They like dress up as and they masquerade as international doctors, which is also like, as a medical professional, is a horrible fucking idea.
Right.
Because you endanger not only the people that you're trying to save, you endanger everyone in a like war-torn area, because international doctors are generally overlooked. Right. In war areas, they generally let international doctors in to care for people. So if you put the idea that they may be they might be the enemy combatants masquerading as doctors, is very, very, very fucking dangerous. Right.
Well, again, a lot of these times the cowboy mentality doesn't think about, though. It's the John Wayne motive. It's shoot it up and ask questions later. You know.
So in the movie, the two guys can't both get in. So Tim Ballard goes in by himself to save the day. So that's where like I get the Rambo vibe from it.
Right.
So it's a movie I will never fucking see. Like,
well, we have seen it. It's called Commando, or any of the Rambo movies.
Yes. Except for this is masquerading as true story. Yeah, but like I said, masquerading as a true story.
Right.
But it's interesting that you're seeing all these old QAnon conspiracies spark back up because of this movie.
Right.
The whole, child trafficking, and the Democrats are just trafficking and selling children out of pizzerias. And, what are the other QAnon? Like, so with QAnon, child trafficking is a huge thing. It's like, they believe it is the number one evil in the world.
Right.
Like I said, is it an evil thing? Absolutely. Is it the number one thing? No. Unfortunately, it's not.
Right. Yeah.
At least here in the U.S. And I'll also say on a side note real quick, that a vast majority of all trafficking in the world happens in developing countries, not in developed countries like we are in currently.
Right. right? Because we had the industrialized nations, first world nations have the security to counteract the vast majority of it.
Yeah,
And
surveillance and police and things like that.
Yeah, exactly.
So, in an underdeveloped country, it's a lot easier to steal people, without people really knowing. And I'll also say that a lot of people that are trafficked are, at least in the United States, a lot of people that are trafficked are uh, like foster kids,
right? Because no one lets them.
So that kind of goes back to, well, maybe you shouldn't ban abortions.
Well, see, yeah,
that's so the foster system and the adoption system isn't overrun with people, and then we can actually get kids to properly vetted families that won't traffic them.
Right. Yeah, well, I mean, that's
but that's making a big, that's like big picture.
Right. So yeah, it's obvious that these a word from last week, dog whistle, so that it's essentially the same thing. So they're creating this backlash to this movie that probably wasn't there, and to boost its box office, which it has, and then it's building out all these or fueling all these other QAnon conspiracies again. But you pointed out that if Disney didn't want this movie to be seen, it wouldn't have been seen.
It wouldn't have been seen.
So that's the core of the problem with the vast majority of conspiracy theories in general. So if Disney didn't want this to be seen, it wouldn't be seen. But somehow, and we know that as a fact, but somehow they managed to get it. Just like somehow these people managed to get the information that 9/11 was an inside job, or that lizard people are really the rulers of the world.
Yeah.
They got the inside track, even though if it was real, these fuckers wouldn't have any chance of having these details.
No,
what I mean?
And that's kind of where where a movie like this could be dangerous, in the fact that it takes something that has a kernel of truth, right? Trafficking is an issue. Trafficking has to be worked on. We definitely a lot of work that the United States needs to do to fight human trafficking, and then they kind of conflate it and twist it into something that it's not, and they make like ordinary people who don't know any better want now you got all these people attacking Disney over this fucking thing,
right?
And I've seen multiple posts over the last couple of weeks about anti-Disney stuff because of Sound of Freedom.
Disney sold it. They didn't want it. You're right. They didn't want anyone to see it. They didn't care. But they're not stopping anyone from seeing it. They just sold it off. Yeah. They could just as easily have put it in their vault and, like you said, never again. Yeah, studios do that all the time with movies.
Yeah, because if you make a movie, there's no legal way that you can force a movie to be released.
Right.
Because the studio owns all the rights to it.
Right.
If I made a movie and, whoever picks it up, Netflix picks it up, and they decide not to play it, I can't legally force them to.
Right.
Because they bought the rights to it.
Right. So I know that there's been like contractual obligations. So like a writer, director, a filmmaker will say, all right, I'll take a lesser pay, but I want to guarantee that this movie gets a theatrical release. It has to have a theatrical release. In cases like that, if it's contractually bound, regardless of who owns it, that's a different story. But studios don't generally do that.
Yeah.
They will do it occasionally if they believe in the director more than they believe in the project, or the actor more than the project. But they don't. Like Tom Cruise could get away with that, getting that contractual obligation to the studio. Very few other people could. and because the studios aren't going to do it voluntarily, even to save money.
Yeah.
So,
well, it's kind of scrolling through. Like, there's the sad thing is, like, there's like legitimate, movie stars involved in this movie,
right?
But two of the big pieces of this movie are both known QAnon supporters.
Right.
They have been public. Both of them have been public about their support for QAnon and QAnon.
Well, I know Jim Caviezel is. I don't know who the other guy. Who
Tim Ballard. Tim Ballard.
Oh,
who the movie is about? It's based on.
Gotcha. Okay.
Even if it's loosely based on his life, it's still based on him. And he is a QAnon supporter. He is a QAnon believer. So, so I'm not somebody that I don't believe that this movie shouldn't be released.
Makes no difference to me either.
It just pisses me off that when, like you said, it's all about like dog whistle stuff. They do things to drum up support from people that don't fucking know any better.
Right. Yeah, people who aren't willing to look even at the just below the surface of things.
Yeah.
And with a title like Sound of Freedom,
it kind of plays in
that's almost a dog whistle in and of itself.
Yeah.
So
the last time I looked, it made it like it's like the 14th highest grossing movie of the year so far.
Yeah, it's like I saw a thing. It was like at 100 million so far.
Yeah, I was trying to see I was looking to see what the budget on it was. 14.5 million,
right?
Which is kind of a big budget.
No, well, it is, but it's also in this day and age when summer blockbuster budgets are more like 250,000 or $250 million.
Yeah.
Really 14 million is where most movie budgets should be.
Yeah.
Because that's how you make money. You're not gonna. It's so hard to make money on a 200 or even $150 million budget, but you make a movie for 10 to 20 million dollars, you're going to make that in a weekend, as long as if it's something people really want to see. And that's what the horror movies. That's what keeps horror movies going.
Yeah,
they make these movies for like $5 to $20 million, depending on who's in it. And as long as it gets a theatrical release, you can usually make at least $20 million in a weekend, or at least within the first couple of weeks. And by the time the end of your theatrical run is, which is about 45 days, you made a good profit. That's how movies really should be made.
Yeah.
But
I didn't know this until just now, but the executive producer on this movie is Tony Robbins.
The self-help guy?
Yeah.
Well, don't get me started on self-help people.
So yeah, they raised
it's just religion by another name.
They raised $5 million in 2 weeks. Angel did to release it.
Yeah.
I guess the reviewer aggregate, I guess, has gotten a lot better on Rotten Tomatoes. It's 73% now.
Positive.
Yeah. At one time, it was like 36 or something. It was in like the high 30s, I think.
Right. See, that's another thing. It's if it's a good enough movie, it doesn't matter necessarily.
Oh yeah, there's
people are making it, as long as it's not they're not hitting you over the head with their views, and that's true. That's true of any movie that has current event type political overtones to it. I say it all the time when you're making movies or TV shows, it's show don't tell. Yeah. As long as they do that, regardless of who's making it, most of the time it's just going to come and go, and it'll do as well as it's going to do based on how good it is.
Yeah.
But it's not the world we live in, unfortunately.
No, and when it comes down like QAnon stuff, it just a lot of the QAnon stuff is why we had January 6th riots. There's definitely people that get sucked into this stuff, not fully understanding what they're getting sucked into, right?
Right.
But like I said, human trafficking is a fucking issue. Is it? I don't think it's dangerous to have a movie that like over glorifies what this movie is doing. Right? Like I said, at least when Rambo was released, like it was Rambo, people knew it was fake.
Right. Well, not only that, the average Joe Blow was not built like Rambo or Arnold Schwarzenegger.
That's very true. That's very true.
They obviously weren't like, trained special ops type killers.
Yeah.
But this, I'm assuming this Ballard guy is not like that kind of guy. I don't know anything about him, but
no. And they use like normal people. They've even had celebrities in their operations.
Right.
So they're not even using like properly trained people,
right,
on these operations, which is also a fucking problem.
Right.
But I guess like people, traveling a submarine down to the bottom of the ocean to see the Titanic. You do stupid things. I guess if you fucking die, it's
well, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, saving a child from slavery is probably a better use of your time than taking a plastic sub with a PS2 controller
jet setting to the bottom, setting to the ocean floor. Yeah.
So, for what it's worth, I guess, on the surface, it could be a meaningful thing, but I think the gotcha journalism aspect of it, which from the sounds of it is a big part of it, is where it falls apart. It's no longer pure, and it's not going to help anybody.
No,
which is what the whole point of it.
Well, I think the whole point of it was to cause, a scene, basically, to get publicity, get all this publicity for this movie and make money off it. That's what it is. Which, every movie studio is in the movie industry to make money,
Right.
And then they obviously made a lot of money. We'll see where it all kind of goes from here, though.
Right.
But I don't know. I just want to know what you thought of it.
Well, I mean, like I said, I've been seeing the headlines. I have not been reading them, but I don't know. It just seems like, go spend your money on Oppenheimer or Barbie. They sound like they're far more entertaining.
Yeah.
At least I really want to see Oppenheimer.
I thought you were going to say Barbie.
No. Honestly, I mean, it's something that I don't think I'll ever watch. I mean, if it's on, I might see it, but I have no interest in Barbie.
I was really kind of surprised how many people I saw, especially at work, that were like super excited. There's like groups of people we work with that were like getting together to go see Barbie.
Yeah. I can't, I'm not going to try and even explain it, but there was this little sketch video that these two guys did about the Barbie movie. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
If I find it, I'll send it to you.
Okay.
But it's it's fucking hilarious. But Oppenheimer, I really want to see Oppenheimer. I just, I haven't got a chance to yet.
Oppenheimer, I think that was the premiere where like it was like, I guess during the premiere of that movie when the actors went on strike and like walked out of the middle of the premiere.
Yeah. Well, because I mean, promotion is part of your job, and if you're going to strike your job, you have to strike everything.
Yeah.
And so I'm all for it. I'm strongly in support of the guilds here.
We'll talk about that maybe next week.
Okay.
On the Entertainment Now podcast. That was we were supposed to talk about this week, but we got a little sidetracked on
not us.
Season 2, episode 1, we got a little sidetracked. So
us get sidetracked? I don't believe it. I don't believe that.
Me feel English? That's impossible.
Right. We're usually straight on the topics. We are topic driven. We are a topic driven show.
We are not.
We try to be. We have topics, so for what it's worth, we usually have something planned. It just doesn't always go to.
We are very well known for drifting off and never reaching our. Well, I shouldn't say we don't do a lot, but we do it a good percentage of the time.
We're better now than we used to be.
Yeah, that's very true. I typically go into an episode with like, a list of at least like several things I want to kind of touch on.
Right.
And sometimes those conversations turn into like the entire episode.
Right. Well, because they can branch into different directions as well.
I will say that though at least last week's show, all the stuff we talked about was at least entertainment based.
Well, so it's so far this week too.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying though. Is like at least we're kind of somewhat staying on topic.
Right. We're not on the Entertainment Now podcast talking about lizard people and hollow earth theories.
Hey, I love the hollow earth theory. By the way, I will say that over the course of the past like 2 weeks, I've discussed the hollow earth conspiracy theory probably at least 5 times to people.
Really?
Yes.
So when in all of our talking about flat earthers and all that silliness, I did not realize. So every time I've seen a flat earther, they just show our current map, but on like a plate shape kind of thing. And that's this is what it really looks like. I didn't realize that there's a whole other group of people that think that what we see on that plate is just the center of the flat earth, and that there's tons and tons of flat earth beyond. There's multiple Arctic rings around these different groups of continents, and they just go out and out and out like an ever growing bullseye.
That's dumb. Like, I don't know what else to say about that, but that's just dumb.
So because I was talking about it with one of our coworkers, and he brought that up, and I was like, no. He's like, oh yeah, they believe some crazy shit. So he brought it up. There's actually like online you can look at these like maps, and they don't go super far because we haven't discovered the other parts of it yet. But he printed it out too.
Like,
I got it.
Like infinite.
They say that it's probably infinite. Yeah.
Okay. Like, well, I'll go back to my previous statement. That's just dumb.
Well, when you say that, would you think the universe is infinite? Well, we can see that.
Yes.
But that these people don't believe what they can see. They just believe what they're told. But I have a printed out map of the known. I think there's like the center ring, another ring, and then maybe a third ring. And that's what's known.
So what are all the planets in the sky and all that stuff then?
Though they don't exist. That was made up by NASA. The stars are just points of light in the dome that's over, or the dome
that's over the infinite world.
Whatever, yeah. Whatever. Hey, don't ask me to explain it. It's hilarious though.
That's just dumb.
Next time if I see you at work, I've got it in my work bag because we printed it out at work, and I got busy and I just folded it up and threw it in my work bag.
When we're done recording, I'll tell me who this is.
Okay.
Do they believe in this?
No. We were making fun of it. We were making fun of it.
Okay.
So, but yeah, it was quite hilarious actually.
I had a patient just recently. She was visiting her husband, so I was taking care of her husband, and like she went on. Like I had to walk out of the room because she kept going on about. She's like, "Wow, I didn't realize that so many people that I know believe in like that the Earth is flat." And I was like, "Oh yeah, it's kind of there's all sorts of crazy people out there." And she's like, "No, it's like a lot of people." And then like the longer she talked, the more I realized that she
is one of them.
I don't think she is a flat earther, but she believes in a bunch of crazy ass conspiracies also. So I'm like, oh, well, typically people that believe in that kind of shit believe in or are at least friends with people that believe in that kind of stupid shit also.
Right. Oh, of course.
But she was talking to me about med beds. The med beds where you can you lay in them and they basically heal you. You can lay in them and you can live for like thousands of years. Yeah,
I'll take one
because that makes a lot of sense. Also,
well, no, I wouldn't want to live for 1,000 years just laying in a fucking bed.
Yeah, But
unless I had plenty of TV and some good food, I guess. But I want to get up once in a while.
yeah, she was a nice lady, but she believed in some crazy shit. She was talking to me about it, and I was like, all right, I have to go see my other patient now. I'll come back and check in you guys in a little while.
There's a crackhead in the other room that I really need to see. That's making more sense than you right now.
By the way, crackheads don't make sense.
That was the point of what I was saying.
I know it was.
Yeah,
but I'm just saying, I was saying that for people that didn't know.
Oh, well, there's a reason why we call crackheads and use that as a term of, well, that guy's fucking nuts. That guy's a crackhead, even though he may not take crack.
Take crack? He doesn't. He may not take the crack.
He doesn't use the drugs. He doesn't smoke the dope.
Yeah. That's funny.
Sorry. I let my innocence show out a little bit there.
I don't know. It's back to the Sound of Freedom. It's I think even like the title of the movie
is a bit of a dog whistle.
Is a bit of a dog whistle, and I think that's kind of, I think it's. I just think it's unfortunate that people don't see how they're being played.
Right. Which really has nothing necessarily to do with the movie. It's creating this shroud of censorship and I don't know around it that's selling it, and it's not selling the movie on its own merits.
Yeah.
Because the movie in and of itself, I could be wrong, but it's probably just, like I said, it's kind of just
it's an action
film.
An action movie is what it is.
Yeah, exactly. So in and of itself, it's probably harmless, but it's just this, I don't know. I don't even know what to call it. Inflated, invisible victimization that side seems to want to use a lot. They're taking away my right of speech as you're saying this in public. No one's taking anything fucking away from you.
The thing that people fail to realize is freedom of speech does not absolve you from repercussions of that speech.
Right. Yeah. There's consequences to what you say. So doesn't mean that you can't say what you want to say, but maybe think about it. Take a second, think about what you're saying. Yeah. Because you may offend the wrong person. And don't get me wrong, I'm not one of those people. I think it is perfectly acceptable to be fucking offended.
Yeah.
But there's different types of offense.
I don't think there's anything I can be offended by.
Right, but a lot of people can be. But that's that's their problem if you're offended. But there are things in this world that are generally universally offensive.
Yeah.
And those are the things that I'm okay with there being some kind of a cancellation or a censorship on. Overall, it's a small number of things. It's blatant racism.
Yeah.
Misogyny, mostly, because that'll never really be
misogyny.
I mean, I think it's a cancelable offense, but depends on how. I guess it depends on how it's being used.
Sometimes I like a little misogyny, but
Well, you would. You would.
Are you trying to call me a toxic male?
No, I mean,
if the shoe fits.
I don't necessarily think you're toxic male. You're a little stinky sometimes, but not toxic.
I will say that I indulge in some misogyny and maybe some toxic masculinity on occasion, but it's always like
for humorous effect.
Yes, for humorous, effect.
And I'm not innocent either.
It's nothing that it's never it's never anything that's like nefarious or anything like that. It's always just like in a joking kind of way.
Right. And because I mean, I think all men are all people are sexist. Women are sexist too. But most of my sexism comes to the point where I can be sexist when pointing out that there are differences between men and women, because there fucking are. And some of those differences are very fucking obvious. But I would never let that interfere with how I talk to somebody. And if even implying that is offending an individual, I'm okay stopping. I don't need to express those views. I'm not so tied to those, you know, you and I have joked about it, because then it's kind of true. Women are fucking crazy, men are fucking assholes. That's a big difference.
It's both true too, damn it.
It's both true. And it's kind of a matter of biology. It's just the way that it is.
By the way, women get mad when you say that they're all crazy.
Right. Well,
I mean, about all the time.
I mean, I don't necessarily get mad when call all men assholes, because it's kind of true.
It's true.
It's true. I don't know if it makes any difference, but she froze up on my end.
No, it's good on my end.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're all frozen.
No, but, like this.
No, you came back when you did that. You're not frozen now.
Oh,
you're frozen very differently.
It records on my end, so I don't know.
Yeah, that's fine. That's all that matters. But
it must be your internet, because you're like delayed also.
Am I? You're not delayed at all.
Yeah,
and that would be part of my internet too.
I hear you talking, and then your lips move like a couple seconds later.
Now, see, what I'm seeing when I look at me, I see it in real time. It's all work. And same with you. You're not delayed.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
But I don't know. I guess we kind of leave it there. Anything else you want to add?
No. I have mild misogyny, but I tone it down because it's wrong. And I understand that.
But
go ahead.
go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I'm an ally to all people except racists and Republicans, which generally are the same thing.
Hey, like I said, I've been saying for years. That's probably might offend some people listening to the show. Just because you're a Republican doesn't mean you're racist.
But if you're racist, you're probably a Republican.
You're more than likely a Republican.
Yeah.
But I guess I'll leave it there. Any questions or comments, you can email us at entnowpod@gmail.com. If you're watching this on YouTube, drop us a comment down below. Let us know what you think of the sound of freedom and all the controversy surrounding it.
It hurts my ears.
My sensitive ears. Yeah. All right, man. Well, that's all I got. Until next time.
Talk to y'all later.
Peace.
Play my role, let me tell you about it. This shit right here, man, I'm about it. Only real niggas reside around me. Yo, lady, drop a guard around me. Dip like I know you can, bitch. Show me the ropes like we in the